Hi there everyone. I wanted to talk about this absolute classic pepe for a bit because I thought not only is it incredibly significant to just our overall existence as people, right? Okay, we all know how significant pepe is, but especially during the pandemic. Um, Essentially, what I wanted to get into today was the ongoing debate between NEETs and I'm gonna say wages, wagecucks, you know, um, on 4chan because we all know that 4chan is the best place to get all your opinions from and the best place to analyze social behaviors. I am particularly interested in 4chan because it's like an unfiltered, well, the probably one of the most unfiltered websites available to mostly young Western men. Although I do recognise there's a lot of diversity on 4chan. Mostly young Western men who are, experiencing the economic consequence of post-industry, of industry, heavy industries such as shipbuilding, steelworking, and factory labour going abroad to places like China. A lot of these guys are living in a time that their grandparents would never have imagined in a million years. And I think it's interesting to draw these contrasts because it's just something that we always hear. I'm a Zoomer. You might be a Zoomer, you might be a millennial, but I guarantee, if not your own grandma or your own granddad, someone's grandma has said to you, "Oh well, I left school on a Friday afternoon. I was 18, or maybe I was 16, probably about 16, 18, 17. I walked into the local, let's call it like a, I walked into the local office or the local supply shop or the local accountancy firm, and I said, Mr. Smith, I see you've got an ad for a secretary. I'm your woman. No, I don't have a college degree. No, I don't have any experience. I've never been to a university campus in my life. But I'm very confident. I'm a good worker, and I'd like to work with you." And then she always mentions, and I shook his hand, gave him a nice long handshake, very confident. And Mr. Smith, the boss man, had her in for the interview on the Friday, into work on the Monday, and your grandma, your granddad probably would have worked that job in this accountancy firm or this office or wherever it was, a practical skill, like carpentry, probably would have worked in this particular, like company or sector for their whole life, uninterrupted, with benefits and opportunities to move up in life and promotions and occasional time off. Oh, how very lucky, how privileged. In contrast to the young men and young women of today, we are trying to survive in an extremely hostile economic environment where not having 2 years experience in hospitality means that you might not be able to work in that little restaurant, you might not be able to be a part-time waiter, and you absolutely, I find it really interesting. I'm going to use the example of, this is really odd, but I was watching a documentary about a serial killer, and the baby boomers that were interviewed in this documentary, they said something that really struck me, that really stood out to me. One of the baby boomers said, I remember I was working at this. They're American, so they call it a gas station. We'd call it a petrol station over here. She said, I remember I was working at this gas station to pay my way through college, and I sat there and I thought, oh my god! If you look at the price for college, the fees for college in the United States nowadays, can you imagine trying to work at a petrol station or a gas station to pay your way through college? Can you imagine doing what your granddad did or what your granddad might have done, and supporting a four-person family on one blue-collar income, wife and kids at home, comfy house, union job, blue-collar or middle class? Can you imagine? Uh, I can't imagine, just because and you're probably the same, we've grown up in a time where the renters. We're living with our parents until a lot later than we'd like sometimes. We're entering this market where we're paying hundreds of pounds a month to live in this accommodation that we don't even own, that we have no claim to once our tenancy is gone. Like, we're paying off somebody else's mortgage, essentially. And by doing so, and by rent increasing rapidly, as we've seen, we are pricing ourselves out of the housing market because we're spending all of our wage bucks. If you're a wagey like me, we're spending all of our wagecuck bucks on rent, on food, on living. Oh my god, see if they ever try, if the government ever try to be honest about one thing, I would like for them to admit that it is absolutely embarrassing and catastrophic to expect the younger generation to be able to become homeowners in a time where real wages haven't very much increased since the early 90s, whereas rent has skyrocketed. And you'll know this no matter where you live in the Western world. Your wages compared to your dad's wages, assuming your dad's pretty healthy, fit young guy. I'm assuming your dad was around in the 90s or in the 80s if you're very young. Yeah, try and find someone who is maybe working at a Home Depot or a B&Q garden centre or a cafe or a restaurant or a fucking TGI Fridays, whatever you want, in the 2000s. Look at their pay slip, compare their pay to your pay, and also look at inflation. Look at the value of the pound coin or the dollar or the peso. Pesos? I don't know. Oh god, okay. We're getting it. I've just revealed my lack of ability to speak Spanish. Yeah, look at the actual buying power of that currency and ask yourself, am I unable to afford a home because I'm buying too much avocado toast and too many lattes on my way to my minimum wage part-time gig? Or could it be to do with the fact that rent is more than 60% of my overall income, wages are stagnant, and I have almost no opportunity of being promoted at McDonald's because I'm a wagey. I'm a wagecuck. I'm exactly what 4chan has correctly highlighted. You know what? We can't always say that we agree with 4chan, but I think it's absolutely fantastic to see people of all political persuasions criticising the fucking hell we have inherited, the economic hell, and they always say that boomers kicked the ladder down on the way up. Boomers had an amazing opportunity in the West, in places like Great Britain and the United States and Canada. They had so many opportunities to get on in life, and once they had that, once they matured, they kicked that ladder down, and now they're asking us to do 5 different interviews before we get the job, and then they're asking us to do unpaid overtime. They're asking us to do XYZ training, experience. Do you want to be a barista's apprentice assistant? I fucking don't. I don't know about you. So I thought it was really interesting to just highlight how 4chan has really fucking hit the nail on the head with this one, in the way that they some of the things that I wanted to highlight today as well were the emphasis on freedom and the emphasis on personal autonomy and the power of free time and the negative impact that shift work especially has on young people and human life in general. You'll see in a lot of these green texts, and I'll see if I can get an example up. You'll see in a lot of these green texts on 4chan that they really highlight the free time, because the NEET has the time to liaise with Stacey and to become a Chad and to read about Greek literature. We're struggling today. To read about Greek literature, to read poetry, to learn a skill, to build, to build into himself and to have a nice garden and to cook breakfast and to like the main thing is really Stacey, because they love talking about Stacey. So they've got all of this opportunity that the the wage slave, would never have, because they're at home and they're really doing something that I thought was special. They're memeing the stigma of unemployment, where previous generations would, call you a bum, call you a drain on the economy. Most people do nowadays, but they're memeing that. They're mocking it and they're saying, yeah, I am a bum. I do sit at home. But can you say that you can be at home, learn to cook, learn to sew, learn to build, learn to create, have a skill, go on fancy dates with Stacey, and they're not ashamed of saying that they've spent their NEET bucks, their welfare on XYZ. It's like they're completely combating these, because you can criticise 4chan as much as you like, but they've done a whole lot of combating these pre-existing ideas about shame and unemployment, because we've always been taught to be ashamed of not hustling and not being a hustler and not licking your boss's toes and begging for more overtime. They have countered that in a way that is incredibly significant to young people, because now we can look at these memes as a point of reference and say, you know what, other people agree with me. Work is not working. That's it. Work is not working. The only thing that I guess I would add to that now is that work works for people who are in the position of earning income through the means of other people's labour. Work, in the way that we do it now, and in the modern way of doing things, benefits CEOs, and it benefits regional superintendents and supervisors and whatever fancy names, chief director of employee satisfaction, it benefits those people. But work doesn't work for us. And when I say us, I'm not I'm not dog whistling here. I want to be clear about what I mean when I say us. I mean normal, blue collar, working class people. Work, and the way that we work now, does not benefit blue collar, working class people. And again, I wanted to highlight this poem, actually. 4chan's great with poetry, and I love this so much. Wagey on the street, are you jealous of us NEETs? When work is done, no time to play, must rest up and earn that pay. Wagey, what to do? All that work must make you blue. NEETs have freedom never pending, our summer times are never ending. Oh, wagey, don't you cry. Someday soon you all will die. It's a little bit of a shitpost, but also I think memes are the way that young people convey humour and dark things and the satire and things like that. This isn't satire, this is truth. This is absolute truth, and it's conveyed in an easily memeable, funny, ingestible way, where I read that and I laugh, and I laugh at the crazy world that we've inherited, and I think this is batshit. I can't believe we've normalised things like 12-hour shifts with one piss break and Amazon employees pissing in a bottle. I can't believe that's allowed to become normalised, and it's really again, I just want to highlight how it's so surprising to me that something like this, which strikes me as left-wing thought, it strikes me as notably very left-wing in nature, the dialogue that we're having is coming from 4chan. I'm surprised that you guys aren't just calling people Jews, but I'm very impressed with. I've seen some amazing takes. I've seen people really address the issues that we have in society, and it's great to see young people doing that. Even if they are adding a few slurs on the end. So thank you, and I just wanted to give a special tribute to all you shit posters, you meme lords, you young men and young women who are wagies or wage slaves or wagecucks, or your pay pigs to your wife. Maybe your wife or your partner doesn't work and you're a pay pig to them, and you're struggling with the economic reality of trying to raise a family on one blue collar budget. You know, your grandparents could have done it. You definitely, I'm not saying you can't, but you're gonna have to do some budgeting, pal, right? Yeah. So I just wanted to pay tribute to you guys who are wage cucking it, and I wanted to give a massive thank you to all of the NEETs who you NEET, and you're great with your poetry. I think you're really inspirational in how you conduct yourself, how you meme work, and how you meme working, and how you point out all of the flaws and logic of the idea of working for somebody else's overall profit. I think that's amazing. So I'll stop there for now, but I just wanted to end on that really positive note. And thank you guys for shitposting your way to the top, and fighting back against this propaganda that if you don't work, you're not living. Because I work to live. I don't want to live to work. And I'd rather not work at all.